like I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
How many meetings have you had?
That's a great question. I am guessing it's well over 1,000.
My gosh.
It's well over 1,000.
I've never done anything 1,000 times.
Well, maybe we should start.
And that is a very good friend of mine for well over a decade, Jason Elkins. This guy has built a mini empire with 100 Cups Consulting, now 100 Cups Mastermind. Why 100 Cups? When he first lost his job years ago, he built a business simply by going to have coffee with other people, but he did it intelligently and he did it with a system in mind. And today he talks to us exactly how to build our business through networking and referral marketing. This guy's the master. Listen in. Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks.
So,
well, let's take a step back. I just jumped straight in talking about what you're currently doing. And I rarely ask folks to go back to their backstory, but how long you and me been knowing each other now?
It is 14 years, maybe 13, 14 years.
So you can go back and tell us quickly. We won't spend 30 minutes on. Tell us the Cliff Notes version of how you went from a job to this.
I was working for a well-respected website and network integration company in the area and enjoyed it and liked the job. The one downside for me was I was having trouble like building longer term relationships because it was selling websites and that's a one-time sale every 5 years. So we started integrating lunch and learns and different things to help people with social media, which was just becoming a thing, and newsletter marketing and things like that. We're getting people together and showing them how to, once you're good, the website's launched, now what? And they made a really good business decision at the time and went with another platform that was supplying them with leads for larger deals, and they didn't need a sales force. And they let me go and let a few other folks go around that time, did some restructuring, and I was a little bit blindsided by that.
You thought you were getting a promotion.
I did. I walked in. I was expecting, they had talked about single threading sales through me.
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
Yeah. Let's go.
Why are you telling me this Good News Friday at 4:00?
Yeah. They did it Friday at 10:00, which is even more bizarre. I was, I've been in staffing for years before that. I was not anticipating this meeting.
Right.
But yeah, that it ended kind of abruptly. And at that time, Charles, I thought if I could not go back to work for somebody else. I felt like I'd made a lot of money for a lot of companies for a lot of years. And maybe I could just do just a little bit as good and make enough money for myself that I wouldn't have to go back to work for somebody. So that was kind of the origin story. The one idea I had at the time is I was going to have 100 cups of coffee with 100 business owners in 100 days and kind of hedge
pretty
my
lofty.
bets. Yeah. Kind of hedge my bets on like taking a quarter of the year to test this idea. I didn't have a lot of money in the bank, or I have a rich uncle that I know of. So I started that process, and I got a few deals after about 20 or 30 cups of coffee. and I just haven't stopped drinking coffee and meeting with people. So that's the kind of the origin story.
So tell us those first deals. What were they?
I was doing social media and newsletter done for you stuff. So companies that at that time, they were really moving out of like yellow pages and billboards and stuff. And there was this new digital revolution happening that people weren't taking advantage of or didn't really understand. And I felt like I was just like a half a step ahead of folks. I was posting, on my own Facebook feed at that time, websites that we had launched, and that was leading to new business. And I'm like, maybe there's something to these platforms for marketing.
So you've taken that concept and it's been transformed, and the hipster word you've pivoted many times, but now you're in your sweet spot and you're teaching other people 100 cups. And I'm saying that what does that look like, or what is it for somebody watching and listening? What does that look like for them?
The 100 Cups Academy that I set up, and I'll make no I'm not making no mistake. I still do digital marketing projects for organizations. Most of that is coaching, or I have a handful of done for you clients that I work with on a regular basis. But to get new clients, I've been using this process for over a decade, And now I'm teaching that in a 4-week workshop series called 100 Cups Academy. I had to unpack it and set it up in kind of these markers that happen during the time that you're going after business. And, what do you say and how do you get people to meet with you? And, that type of thing. So that is now a 4-week series. And for a lot of extroverts that have been in sales forever, they may not need this as much, although I could still help them with the relationship developing skills. The people that I've found that have just taken off or grabbed this concept and really grow their businesses have been people that really don't like sales or they don't view themselves as salespeople.
So virtually every small business owner and
right.
creative and
those are the ones that are kind of taking a run with it because it's a let's get up and wake up and go seize the day. It's more like, let's develop some relationships with people that you like that can help you either open doors for you so that you can get new clients. Maybe they have pockets they're selling to other people that need your services, or let's just develop really good relationships with people that need your services. So how do you do that? It's a very servant first.
So if I'm taking a look at this, whether I am a newbie, and in a lot of cases, I know your clients, they're not, you got some newbies mixed in, but a lot of them are 10-year vets, 20-year business owners. A lot of them are service-based, some product, but what I personally see, and I've forever, the issue I have with people, I'll ask them about, what's your best marketing method? What works best for you? And before I can even get it out, people will just so happily it's just referrals and word of mouth. And what do you do? Well, we really don't do anything we don't do anything for marketing. We just do that, which sounds amazing until you start peeling back the layers in some cases and you realize they don't have a process and their revenue's been flat for 10 years.
Right.
And when you ask them, it's like, oh, cool. So you don't need any help. Well, I could really use a little help. Yeah. So they don't want to do any real quote unquote spend money on marketing. They want to do it all through word of mouth referrals, which is fantastic. What you've got, it sounds like, as a process. So looking at it, let's say through the eyes of a 10-year vet, and I'm Charles Alexander and I want to sell more, let's say coaching services.
Sure.
I want to sell coaching services. In addition to creating my own content, what is 100 Cups? What would you tell me? Just, what's the down and dirty? Charles, go do what?
So the first thing to think of is who is in your circle that you haven't talked to in a bit. And this is we're kind of developing some meeting muscle with that. You look at your circle and instead of thinking, who can I sell to? You think, who is a person of influence that may be talking with people that I'm selling to? So I'll give you a quick example of this. There was a gentleman that used to work for 94 FM The Fish, and he was selling radio time. And when they would start asking about digital services and social media, he was like, well, let me get you in touch with Jason. And I made lots of money from referrals from him, but on paper, he is not a client, Charles. He's a salesperson. He's out doing his thing. He's not buying those services, but he's
a center of influence.
He's a center of influence, and he's connected to all these people that need my help. So developing a relationship with him, answering his questions, being available, supporting his needs, that became something that I started looking at. Like, okay, who are these people in the periphery that I could connect with? And it's not. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say. So tell me, I'm picking up. It's taken me years now, but I'm picking up. So why is it important for me to meet with just some folks that I know? And what is, you're talking about developing meeting muscle. What are you talking about?
So the way that I look at every year, if 1,000 more people knew I existed and what I did, how would that impact my business? Mm-hmm. And then I think about, how am I going to get to 1,000 people? And you can run ads and you can, in the old days, you'd put up a billboard or run a radio campaign or something, but today our competition is so fierce and it's on the phone now. You can Google business coaches and have a bunch of them pop up on Google. You're going to connect with the people that you actually know. Okay. And you can't really connect with people that you know if you're not connected, if you're not meeting with folks.
If you're just hitting the like button once a week.
That's it. So there's an intentionality to it. So every week I think about setting aside 45 minutes or so to do prospecting. And that is looking at the list of people that are in my periphery and going, okay, who's doing some stuff? Who can I connect with, and just to learn more about. So when I'm setting those meetings, Charles, I'm not saying let's go get coffee and let me tell you what my services are. I'm saying let's go grab coffee and let me learn more about what you're doing. And then helping them, or being willing to serve them or give them a piece of advice that might help with that process, just to be thought of as somebody that is knowledgeable and that can connect some dots and help them move the needle. And I'm not saying let's go do that because you're going to pay me. It's just let me go see if I can help you.
And you're starting off with people not. And when you say meeting muscle, I always think batting practice, which is not the right way to say it, because there's a ton of value in meeting with them, but you're getting comfortable with the process with folks you know.
That's right. And they like to help you. The people that you have in your circle tend to be.
They like you.
Yeah, they like you. We all have some blinders on, I suppose.
That way.
But that was the concept, is just being really consistent. That's why I set it at 100 at the time. It's like, okay, I can start checking this off and moving forward on these. And yes, it's going to take some time, especially if you're not going after like, oh, it's an open sale. And you're going to get some meetings that end up in business for sure. Right away.
That's just gravy.
The idea is to be known as someone that can help. I got a call from a guy that he told me his daughter was looking for a marketing job, and would I spend some time with her? This was 5 years ago. And I spent 20 or 30 minutes with her on the phone. I just got a call with him. He's now chamber president at a small chamber of commerce.
Oh,
he's
yeah?
like, could you help us with some marketing? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's get together. But that was an investment that I did years ago that's starting to pay off now. And the longer you do this, that's the magic that starts happening, is being willing to help others. So
I've got my 10, 12 people I know, like, trust. I have a meeting with them. A couple of things. So I'm not pitching them, and I'm not just saying, well, how can you help me? Or how can what are some of the things I need to talk to them about? Do I talk more? Do they talk more? Sure. What does that initial set of meetings look like? Yeah, the initial set, you want to break it down and you're always split the time. You need to be listening 70% of the time. So when I'm rolling into a meeting, that's the thing that I'm thinking about as I open the door to sometimes it's a Zoom call, but if I'm opening the door to a coffee shop, it's okay, you need to be quiet. Need to ask questions and listen. So the listen 70-30 is important. That's number one. Number two is make sure that you're viewing them. And we got this from our friend and business coach, John Morgan. Make sure they have a sign on their head that says, make me feel important. Okay. So you're not going to talk about just yourself. You're thinking through how can you edify them? How can you support them when they're there? And then you're asking them lots of questions. So the 70-30. And then there's another practice that I use called lead with your best. So, Charles, you asked me how to get more coaching clients, and you're already doing great on content. You're doing these interviews, you're posting a lot of content, but maybe have you met with 10 other coaches that may have people that they are not quite a perfect fit for them, or maybe you could pick up a method or two or find out what they're doing for prospecting. Just that alone. If you said, I'm going to meet 10 coaches over the next 8 weeks and just talk to them about their process and how it can help, maybe you could partner with them, or maybe it's an event that they want you to speak at, or there's all these great things that could happen afterwards. Sure. And that's universal across. If I was an advisor, but I met with somebody else who offered different types of services. If I'm an insurance agent, they offer different lines, or they have different methods of collecting leads. That's right. And I've found that people that are afraid of sales or don't really like sales, they will meet with everybody before they'll meet with the person that can actually give them the sale. So I don't want you to think that all I have to do is this. This is part of your this is just part of your prospecting for relationship development. So I'm meeting with the people I know. I'm listening. I'm asking a few leading questions just to get them to talk about themselves. I assume a lot of this is, my gosh, it's an overused term, but you're being authentic. You're not necessarily trying to lead me to a sale, but you're going to say something I find interesting. So just keep digging there and letting you talk. Yep. How long these meetings last? Typically 45 minutes. And this is why we do coffee instead of lunch. That's it.
That's it. When I first started in business, like I said, I didn't have a lot of. I figured I could afford coffee. I mean, now it's a little bit more expensive than it was then. But yeah, the idea is and kind of keep them short and be like intentional, but also, stack a few of these up at the same time, so you're not kind of running around 7 different coffee shops for 7 different meetings. Pick a central location.
You're going to the local cool.
Yeah,
not Starbucks, in Starbucks
maybe,
but you're going to the local, for us, stomping grounds, maybe.
Yeah, right.
And then you're batching them.
That's right.
Switching to decaf halfway through.
That's right. Some of us need to, but then the idea for that is, so we've had this meeting, we've gathered this information, we support them, we've given them our best piece of advice for that morning, and there's a whole movement of you can't rent my brain, or don't, you can't take me to lunch and pick my brain, and I get that. I understand that, but I'm being intentional with my time, and I've got a certain set of time, and I'm really trying to listen well while I'm there, and being intentional, being connected and authentic, and then offering a piece of advice. And then a real critical part after is the follow-up. So
what does that look like?
I have a stepped plan, but I'll give you just kind of the high levels. I make sure that they get a text or a thank you message within 24 hours. And then I want to post about them on social. If they're good with that, I usually get a picture, and they'll be my cup of the day. So I have, this was kind of an accidental thing that I stumbled into, and I'm like, oh, people seem to like a little bit of credit, a little pat on the back, like, hey, I met this person. This is what's interesting about them because I've listened, and maybe get a picture and give them a number or call them the cup of the day, and their friends are reacting, or their family is like, oh, great, congratulations on your cup. It's like, okay, well, you had coffee with Jason. It's not that big of a deal, but but the idea is like, we don't get a lot of that, right? If you're 4 years old, finishing your plate is a good thing, but it's not. You don't get a lot of pats on the back as a project leader at a large company,
So you do that, you follow up, and I assume you and it's different for everybody out there. I would say, at that point, try to collect the email.
Yeah, for sure.
Ask them if they can be on the list, or just, make it a point to stay in touch with them using your CRM. So the point,
and then just one more thing, I want to kind of wrap this up for the. I
don't normally interrupt, but I like interrupting my friend.
The process, I'm
sure the listeners love it.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk over the host. Good job, Jason. The idea is, because I've met so many people, I try to make a critical introduction for them as well. So that's kind of the final. So they get a nice message after we've met. I thank them for their time, which I think time is our most valuable asset. And then I edify them by posting them on social, talking some nice things, maybe give a link to their website or what they're into. And then that third piece, and the real critical piece, is try to make an introduction that's going to be helpful for them. That's just in my network. I'm not trying to sell them anything at that time, just trying to make sure that they're connected with somebody else that might be able to help them in my network. So I'm trying to bring a bunch of value in that short period of time.
So I have a bunch of people in my circle that I work with, talk with, that want to take everything to one extreme or the next. And I've got some that flat refuse to do this. They only want to post stuff online. And then I have people on the other end of the net spectrum, usually a little more traditional, maybe even more traditional businesses, that only want to network. And they love this concept so much that that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to create anything or post anything. I'm just going to meet. And they get all nostalgic or almost excuse driven. I'm just going to meet with people, and I'm going to be a servant leader. And they insert every John Maxwell buzzword term here.
Right.
Do you give, and this is a loaded question, so follow me here. Do you give people permission to just meet and just talk and just help, and then post, or not say post, create no content?
So the people that have done the best with this program like that, it's, I'm getting letters or really passionate thank you email or something like that, are the ones that are following the content strategy part of this as well. However, if you're just going to listen better, that's going to help your sales. If you're just going to follow up better, that's going to help your sales and your business growth. So there are people, and I've had some real estate folks come through, and they're like, this is the most competitive market I've ever been in. I don't want anybody to know who I'm meeting with, because they're going to like cherry pick these people. I'm like, you're out of your mind. That's just kind of a scarcity mindset. And I'll say that, and they're like, well, I had a friend that had a sign out front of their house with my name on it, and they got a call from somebody in my office telling them that, why are you working with them? They don't sell houses in this neighborhood. Like,
Right.
so, I do get that there are some things like that, and same thing for like financial services people that have to run everything through some formal process before they can,
compliance.
yeah, they can make a post or something like that. So I get that there's some of that, but you could still use the principles. Maybe you're highlighting a business of the week, or maybe you're highlighting a location that you had that coffee meeting, or maybe you're highlighting. And one of the things, Charles, is I see people like to be part of a winning team. And if you're out there meeting with folks, there's this perception that if you're basically talking about it, there's this perception that you're a mover, shaker, that you're successful. And there have been times that people are like, oh, you're so busy. And I think I'm not any busier than any other small business owner, entrepreneur.
You're just letting people know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, using that same method. That's why I have an incredible guy like Jason Elkins come on, so I can start showing that off and go after some of your higher level people. And before you know it, I've got Dan Miller on here, and I'm rocking and rolling. By the way, that's a pitch I'm going to put in when I go ask him.
I'll make an introduction, Charles.
Would you? That'd be great.
For sure.
So in following up to my loaded question there, so what Jason is saying, and I know it's 100% true because I've worked with him and seen this in action. Once somebody meets with you and talks with you, you can live in la la land and think that they won't ever check in on you, but that's not true. One of the very first things we always do. Sarah Alexander, by the way, she's a private investigator in disguise. After she meets with somebody, she is going to tear apart the World Wide Web and learn about everything you've ever done with anybody ever through all the socials. And sometimes when you do that, you can find out somebody that's really sweet is really cool. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you find out, they've also got crazy inside of them, and they've let it all out on Facebook.
You're like, dang it, I wish I didn't know that.
I mean, yes. I can also tell you that if you meet with insert the center of influence or whoever else, and they start coming to check you out, if they go to your website, if they go to your whatever social media drug of choice you're using, and it's a wasteland, maybe. If they go there and you've posted really boring generic content, but if you've done anything like what you're talking about, and you've just posted some fun stuff, personal stuff, some content assets that you're giving away, they think, aha, this person is a little bit of what they say they are. It doesn't mean you have to go out and live your entire life Gary Vee style, but you can't just hide behind a rock and then make excuses for the fact that you don't want to create content. You just want to meet with people. You got to have both.
Yes. It's the people that have been the most successful, and I've got several stories, but one is a woman that came through. She had 2 clients at the time, and she was miserable trying to think about sales. And after this program, she looks at your medical bills and then tells you how the hospital coded things wrong or whatever, and kind of helps you sort that out. And if you've ever had a family member or yourself have gone through anything traumatic at all, that's stacks of pay. I mean, you get,
dude, it's for a knee. Yeah, it's for a knee surgery. A knee surgery. Insert doctor's name, office that won't be said here, that didn't turn in the paperwork on time, is causing me headache with Blue Cross Blue Shield. But go ahead, Jason.
You get the whole. She has a business that helps people sort through that, and she had 2 clients at the time, and she was really trying to develop this. And she was traveling with her husband in an RV and around the country, so they could, that was their pseudo retirement. And after she went through the academy, she just started thinking, I'm just making friends with people, and started having this consistent, regular contacts. And now she's got a thriving business, 40 clients, got a group that she's trained other people how to do this, that she gets paid to coach them. And she's a huge advocate for me, which is great. But at the same time, like, she put the effort in. She is the one that did the work, and had a big mindset shift on, I don't have to close every sale. I just have to open relationships. That was the whole thing. And we get our clutches into clients, and we got to like hold on to them so tight. And we sometimes, if we go full
of Mice and Men and Lenny and George there.
Yes, we get so anxious about maybe one leaves or things don't go right. If you have a consistent prospecting process, then you can cherry pick, or if something isn't going right, it's okay. Maybe that wasn't a good fit for you. You can let them go and maybe kind of rise up to the next level with a better fit for you. But you don't know that unless you're meeting people and talking. And small businesses live or die by client selection. That's a John Morganism. But that is something that I have found. I don't worry about. I have a stable of clients. I don't worry that they're the only ones that I'm ever going to have. And if somebody leaves, it's devastating. It's not like that.
Sure.
So it future proofs your business by doing that.
And in looking at that, so Jason's telling you, and create a list of people that you already know, like, trust, have some center of influence. And you say coffee. I know some of these are not coffee. They're what we're doing now. Right. If they're 2 states over, say, hey, and don't use the term virtual coffee, even if you're using it, because virtual coffee has turned into sales, but just say, hey, it's been a while since we chatted. Let's hop on. I want to just find out what you're doing. No behind the scenes things for me.
That's it.
And then follow all the same things that Jason just said. You ask them about themselves, what they've been up to, dig into what they've told you a little bit out of your own genuine curiosity, listen 70%, and then offer your little nugget of wisdom. Ask who else you can introduce them to, and then take that person, and instead of just floating off into the sunset, put them in a CRM, an Excel spreadsheet, keep up with them, and then follow back up once in a blue moon. And then you're stacking these. You're not just doing them helter skelter. Did I get it right?
That's exactly right. Yes.
And have something for them to come back and look at, and brag on them a little bit.
That's right.
So in talking about all this, we're getting real close to the end here. I want to shift gears, because a lot of what I love helping people do is how to do all this stuff, but do it in not just less time, but do just the things that you need to be doing. This is a high leverage item. This is not a little knick-knack task. So Jason's been doing this for a while. So what's some stuff, dude, so you're doing this as a high leverage item. What's some of the stuff that you can only do in your business? And then what's some stuff you've learned to outsource or delegate or just quit doing?
Sure. So I have somebody helping with all the systems within my business. I realized that even 100 cups was a system. I had to unpack it. Like, maybe in the beginning I thought, okay, maybe it's just because I'm pretty good with people or that it's working. No, this is like, you've been consistent and you've asked these series of questions. And so, like, taking all that and putting that into something that makes sense. I need help with that in my business. I need the foundational person, and I'm blessed with my daughter's 25, and she actually works. You
made a person.
I did, and it's so funny because she is like the opposite of me. She wants to be. She never wants to be out front. She's in the background kind of thing. But she has helped build all of the follow-up process, foundational technology that we use. We have a tool called TickTick that I use.
Is that real?
It is real. It's like a Monday.com or some other type of system, but TickTick helps us manage the process if we're doing content for other people. TickTick helps me manage ideas, so I have like my brainstorm stuff in there. I keep my coaching call, like the clients that I'm coaching on marketing, I keep a record of every call that I have in there. And Kiana, it's my daughter, she set all that up, and that has been a game changer for me. At first it was just, hey, do this task or help me here, I'll pay you some of it. Like, no, I've incorporated her. She gets paid more consistently than I do. She's she's the monthly. I know when those checks are going out, but she helps manage all the systems. And invoicing, Charles, for whatever reason, was a nightmare for me. This is something that should be.
Because you wouldn't do it.
Yes, it was of some of that. So she's fixed that process. It's amazing what. Yeah,
that helps cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So throwing you a curveball. What's some stuff you need to be doing less of right now?
For as many appointments that I have, the back and forth on appointment setting can make me an absolute crazy person. And I've signed up for Calendly, and I've tried that, and I've signed up for some other services. I've paid people to set appointments for me. I have to fix that process in my business. There's a lot of people that want to talk to me now, which is nice. And I need a category for who that person is so that I can be prepped for that. So
why doesn't Calendly work?
It can, but then it's like, okay, well, what kind of meeting is this? And it's just something I need to. It's not crystal clear yet.
Gotcha. So if you free that up, that'll free up some time. So what will that
Yeah.
give you a chance to do more of?
I want to do, believe it or not, more prospecting stuff right now. I love the clients that I have. I love who I'm working with, but I always want to be on the front edge of who's out there and what are they doing. And at times I feel like a talent scout in a way. Like I could plug into somebody that's doing something really cool and maybe throw some gasoline on that fire. And
dude, I've seen you go full shoe dog on us with old Sal from Nike. Go find a hidden gem, and then they go rise to fame, and you're just kind of lurking in the background.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's my favorite thing to do. So I need to be meeting some more people, and there's some functions within the business that I'm running right now that take me away from that.
So last question, talking about meeting with somebody, who's somebody you haven't met with that you would love to meet?
So I'll just state it publicly. I did meet this person for a group coffee thing. Bob Berg wrote the Go Giver, and we're connected on social media, and I read his newsletter that he sends me every week. And we had a really good exchange when we met. I posted about him as a cup of the day. He responded, said that was like one of the nicest things anybody had ever said about me. And I still haven't reached out to the guy for a follow-up meeting or to be on his podcast or anything. So he's high on my radar. And Carrie Wilkerson is another woman that we've got a good friendship and some mutual friends on Facebook, but I haven't sat down and connected the dots there. So I'm committing on this podcast with you right now that I'm going to follow up with those two people before the end of the month.
Good deal. Then after you do that, then I can just leech onto you.
That's exactly right.
Speaking of leeching onto you, dude, how do folks find you?
So 100cups.coffee. And there's a thing if they want to get a cup of coffee with me, they fill out a form and we got that process pretty good on lock. So if you're interested in talking to me more, learning about coaching services or digital marketing support that I do or my upcoming classes, that's a great place to connect to me.
Good deal.
And send me a friend request on Facebook. It seems, I know it's not the cool platform, but that seems like where most of my business comes from and most of my business interactions are having in the messaging app on Facebook, actually.
3 billion people can't be wrong.
I guess you're right.
Dude, thanks for coming. Time went fast, and
fast.
We'll have lunch then.
Thanks. Sounds good.
See you, bud.
See ya.
Wait. Don't run off just yet. Do me a big favor. Hit the little plus sign to subscribe. Scroll down to wherever you are and leave a very honest 5-star review and tell other people why they should be listening. And if you don't, an angel may in fact lose its wings. True story. Have a great day.